I hate this so much.
You've got your Discord.
This is what we do.
114
Perfect.
episodes, professionals.
100%
114
professional.
episodes.
Filters.
Terraria, building a hotel. Now, ready now?
Yeah, we're live, man. We're as
All right,
live as
I'm
Oh,
you
hearing
can
nice.
get.
someone. I'm hearing my voice
Nice.
through somebody. I'm gonna talk for a little bit, so let's see if I can hear that again. Does someone have their YouTube open? Anyway, I'm gonna start this. Here we go.
Welcome to the weekly episode of the Freelancer Codex podcast. Your host, Steven, and co-hosts Mike, Devin, and JD are all set. Join us and tweet your questions at Freelancer Codex. Find us on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or send emails to freelancercodex@gmail.com. Strap into your javelins, and let's drop in.
Hey, welcome everybody to episode 114 of the Freelancer Codex podcast, the longest running Anthem podcast in the entire world. I am your host, Steve, and I'm here with my three co-hosts, Mike, Devin, and JD. Also joined with us today is Lupo to the rescue. Lupo, what is going on?
Not too much, man. Thank you for having me again.
It has been, I think you are our longest running guest.
I was
host
actually
on
I
the
was
show.
thinking about that. This is my fourth time on the show, and I think I just beat out Ash. We were tied for the
It's
longest.
true.
And,
You
and
have,
now I
have the
am
record.
the champion, the
man.
guest speaker champion.
Congratulations on being the
Thank you.
champion of the Freelancer Codex podcast. And we wanted to have you on because I'm tired of talking to the other three guys. And it's like I need to talk with someone else about Anthem, right? All right, because everyone else is
I'll
like,
tell
yeah,
you what,
whatever.
though, like you hit like premium freelancer codex quality over the last couple weeks. I was listening back to some of the podcasts today, and I think the last episode you guys were talking about. I see Mike laughing because he knows I'm going to talk about the whole 114 thing, like the numbers thing. And then you got into some other conversation, and then you just hit the start. you hit the intro again. Dude, I laughed so hard today. It's like, all right, we just need to start this whole episode over again. All right.
We're glad
I'm
we
glad
can make you laugh, Lupo. That's
I
what we
love you
set out
guys.
to do.
I
We
really
sit
do.
down. We
Oh,
sit down
yeah.
every week and we go, how can we make him laugh
Me
this
specifically.
week? It
Yes.
is true. It is true. We appreciate all of our listeners.
Mike
now
was
that we know there's more
workshopping
than
that
one of
bit
them,
for
so-
2 months.
So
It was worth it.
speaking of specifically making Lupo laugh, Lupo, can you introduce yourself to people that may just be tuning in for the first time and that have not heard you or don't know who you are and what you do? Can you just give us a quick rundown?
Absolutely, man.
Oh.
So my name is Lupo. I'm a mixer partner. I have been hosting a Anthem web show on Mixer for almost 2 years. So it's not quite as long as you guys. I think you guys have that foothold as the longest running Anthem syndication anywhere on the internet, which is a feat in and of itself. So that's extremely impressive. But yeah, a stream on Mixer.
Indeed.
Mixer partner for I've actually been a partner for almost a year now, which is pretty crazy.
That's cool. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
I can't
So,
believe
yeah.
it's been that long. It doesn't feel like it's been
I
that
know.
long.
No,
It's been over 11 months since I've been subscribed to you. So since I could subscribe to you.
Long time.
So as a mixer partner, Lupo, so I wanted to ask you, where you're a variety streamer, you do a ton of stuff. You do Pokemon streams all the time. Destiny 2, I think, is probably your main game that you stream a lot. So where does Anthem fit in your repertoire of games that you play, and how does it compare, like viewer wise, community wise, to the other games that you stream?
It does. It actually does equally as well as almost everything else. It's because it was my dedication to build the community early on and carry that over. I feel like I'd be disingenuous to disingenuine to myself if I said I'm gonna be this guy. I want to be the community liaison, if you will, to Mixer or the greater Mixer community, and not continue that post launch or with the game being in the state that it is. So I'm still committed to that, and I want to do that every week. And you see new faces, you see old faces, people that know the game, that don't know the game. So it's been a really like great experience, and that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. That
And
guy to really be the champion of the community at this point.
And I think every time I tune into your streams, because I get to catch your streams a lot, and get to say, hey, you have a very good ability to teach people and just be like, no, man, this is what this is. This is, even when people sometimes come in like, semi-negative, you're very positive and able to talk to your community. And you have a great community that's like, hey, we're all playing all these different games. We can enjoy playing different games, right? So I've always appreciated that about your community and the way that you stream. So everyone should follow Lupo, and you're branching out. You're doing multi-streaming for Anthem now, so you're going to be on Twitch, YouTube, and on Mixer.
Yes.
So
Well, it's just really like to unify the community as a whole. It's kind of been like fractured because of not a lot of people are streaming on Anthem. Like I was on Twitch over the last couple of days and just kind of seeing like who's out there, what's doing what, and like maybe 60 viewers on Twitch. Like a handful, 50 to 100 on Mixer tops. So it's just really trying to reel all that in and just make one place for Anthem. Regardless of where it is.
So, well, not only that, making a positive place because like
sure,
like you talked to, the game, is what it is, right? We all know, those of us who have been here for 114 episodes, we know, those of us who have watched your channels for 11 months, we know where the game is, we know where the state is, but once you shovel through all the muck and get rid of all that stuff that could bog you down, like it is a fun game. I mean, we'll get to it later in the show, but I have been probably one of the ones who have been down on it the most because of what I thought it could be and because what we were promised. Steve actually challenged me outside the show to complete the Ice Tide challenge and before it goes away, and so I kind of got in, went through it, made sure that I had all my math done so that I could complete all the events in the right amount of time. And you know what? Ultimately, it's a fun game. It's a fun experience. Getting through and blowing stuff up is always fun. Seeing explosions is fun. So, but we'll get into that when we start talking about our topics and stuff. So yeah, so we appreciate you being out there and making a positive voice, because negativity sucks. And if you do it, stop it. Because if you do it, you're a tool, right? So stop being negative.
All right. That's enough said. All right, so real quick, if you want to call and leave us a message, you can do that at 505-386-7917. You can also leave us a message on our Anchor webpage. You can do that at anchor.com/freelancer codex. And we wanted to say thank you to our latest patron, Spencer. So thank you for becoming a patron and supporting us. It means a lot to us. And hey, that's going to get us, to places like EA Play and doing all that fun stuff. So Spencer, thanks very much for being a patron. We really appreciate it. And we actually have a sponsor of this episode, so that's kind of exciting. And the sponsor is Laughleet. I don't know if you guys know about Laughleet, and if you don't, I will tell you about it. So Laughleet is a new clothing brand for athletes with a sense of humor. Devin, this isn't for you. You don't have a sense of humor. So whether
I almost spit out my drink right there. What are you talking about?
Nor are you an athlete. So
hey,
that's not true.
everybody's an athlete. I do esports. All right, I lift weights.
Hey, this isn't part of the
I
athlete.
do.
So whether you're a lifelong gym rat or you're just starting that New Year's resolution to get healthy, Laughleet wants you to sport your sense of humor whenever and wherever you exercise. So head on over to laughleet.com and check out dozens of hilarious designs like their Bin Swallow t-shirt or their Kerm Ripped the Frog tank top. So all of their shirts and tanks have been custom fit and are made from the softest, high-quality cotton poly fabric. And I can attest to that because I have one and it is super soft. So never pay for another scratchy unisex shirt that fits like it was made for a box. So their shirts and tanks start out at just $19 and they're shipped directly to your door. Laughleet is offering our listeners of the Freelancer Codex podcast 20% off their first purchase and anything from laughleet.com. Just use promo code Freelancer at checkout and get 20% off your first purchase. Again, that's laughleet.com, LAUGHLETE.com, laughleet.com. Sport your sense of humor. So yeah, everyone go check them out. It's going to be pretty awesome.
I like it.
How big do their sizes go?
I actually don't know, JD. That is a good question.
Check the website.
2XL.
Yeah. Go to
2XL?
laughleet.com. All right, real quick.
It's 2XL.
We got a listener called in and left us a message. So we are going to play this message and then we are going to talk about it because it actually ties into a lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about during the show. Because I'm sure that a lot of people are having questions about Ice Tide, the extension of Ice Tide, the Cortex. thing that's going on. Hey, there's Scarecrow over there saying, hey, I know this Lupo guy. All right, so here is a listener voicemail.
Hey, what's up, Freelancer Codex? It's Phaedron here, and I just had a quick question for you guys. I'm sure you're talking about this, but in the community update, it talked about how they had more content, but they're not ready to talk about it yet, and then that was removed. What do you guys think that they're referring to? It seems like Anthem's starting to communicate more with the community. Their Twitter's kind of come out of hiding, and it seems like they have stuff to share. But I wanted to ask you guys, what would get you excited? If it's more seasonal content to hold us over till the release of 2.0, I feel like that would be pretty dull. But I want to hear your guys' opinion. What do you think would be, I guess, exciting enough or interesting enough for the community for them to discuss, rather than just to, release something on the PTS and have us say, oh, it's another seasonal thing. Anyway, hope you guys have a great episode, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, thanks, Phaedron, for calling in and leaving the question. So, and we'll throw this to Lupo first, but a little bit of explanation. So, in the latest, it was the week 8 Ice Tide Cortex update. There was a paragraph that read, in case you missed it, we released update 1.6.2, a small update last week that resolved a few issues and extended Ice Tide into February. At first, it read, we are currently working on what's to come after Ice Tide, but we're not quite ready to share details on it yet. Hopefully, this extension will allow for everyone to enjoy the Hyperborean climate. Hyperborean? I don't know if I said that right. Hyperborean. That sounds like our show is Hyperborean. Climate and activities a little together. And then a couple hours later, they removed the we're currently working on what's to come after Ice Tide, but we're not quite ready to share details on it yet. So that got removed. Some people noticed it. It got captured by some by people in our community, people on Reddit. They posted about it. And I think it made people a little bit concerned that they removed that. So Lupo, will throw this to you first. What do you think that they were referring to? And do you think that another seasonal update will tide us over till 2.0?
It's a multifaceted question. So I personally didn't see that. I actually saw that you guys had posted that, and once we started talking about get on for the episode this week. So I think it's interesting, but the first thing they had to do was damage plan a little bit, because that's basically everything they said up until the comm stop. Like, we want to tell you, we're working on something, but we're not really ready to show it to you yet. I mean, that was probably like Chad's last communication, like, hey, we're not ready to show anything right now. So if they did that again, that usually means someone's gonna leave the company. Right?
So Caden's leaving next.
Like,
he just got
I don't
there.
want that. I don't want that to happen. Like, I mean, Caden's
Spin the wheel.
maybe Caden did it as an accident. Like, they were talking about it, and he's writing up this thing, and like they say, okay, send it, and then they're like, oh wait, we're not supposed to do that. Like, we don't really know, honestly. And I don't want to like think of anything maliciously, like, that they removed it because they're not wanting to show things. I think if they want to show something, they're really going to show it, because you got a whole bunch of hungry animals waiting for new things.
So JD, do you think would their first initial statement, would that hurt BioWare at all? Like, telling people that they are working on something, or does it hurt them more retracting that sentence?
It definitely hurts them more retracting it. I think the only reason why they retracted it is because
that is a good reason.
That's what I was thinking.
JD was like,
That's what I thought. Lost you, man. Give it to us again.
Man, I was saying, I don't think it definitely hurt them to retract it, but I think the big thing is that the initial message mentioned some kind of timetable, like it's after Ice Tide. I think that's the main reason it was taken down. I don't.
Well, I mean, technically everything's after Ice Tide, right?
Yeah, but
hey, that's my line. What are you talking?
The whole thing is that there's a certain like kind of expectation.
Yeah, and that's
Boy, I bet I.
Discord is going great.
So
Not a sponsor.
Devin, like, do you believe there's anything after this? Like, is there anything before? I should say it like this: is there anything before 2.0? Because of course there's going to be something after.
There has to be something before 2.0, because
Does there?
I mean, there. what are you gonna do if there's not, right? I mean, the game, you're just gonna let it die until then. I mean, if there's no updates, I mean, it's a live service game, so they have to have stuff for you to do, unless they're just abandoning it, right? So, I mean, they have to have things to do, for people to play. So, I'm really hoping, if Adrian wanted to know what would bring us back, what would excite us, I would like, a new stronghold for sure. I enjoy the strongholds. They definitely need more than the 4 that we have. It's just not enough. And but what?
But one stronghold isn't enough, right?
I know. Well, it can just be part of the whole thing, right? Because they were making story missions. They were doing different things. I understand there's a lot of stuff that's coming or should be coming in 2.0, but in reality is 2.0, I don't see it coming until, fall of this year at the earliest. And even then, I think they should push it back because it's going to be super crowded in the fall of this year, and it's just going to get pushed to the side by all the new games that are coming out, the huge games with lots of attentions like Cyberpunk, for one, new consoles,
Cyberpunk,
just so many things that are coming out in the fall of this year and holiday season that, I mean, I don't even know if this year's a good year for it to come out unless it's coming out before June.
Well, I don't think Anthem can plan around other people's releases. I think they just have to get it done and put it out. I don't think there's anything that will say like, because nothing is going to pull someone away from a different game to Anthem right now. Like, that's just not how it's going to happen. I don't think they should try to compete against that. I think they just need to put out a game that works, an update that works, and then just hope that their community comes back to it, and then it comes out by word of mouth. Because there's no way that they're going to compete against those games. And then, the way releases are going, it's like next year, the first quarter of next year is probably going to have a ton of new games also. I mean,
there's always new games coming out.
There are always new games, but I don't know. I don't think that they can afford to wait till next year, but I definitely think it's going to be the fall of this year. And I personally don't think we're getting anything till then, unfortunately.
I mean, if they don't, then the game's just dead, right? I mean, if the game is fun to play, but you need new content in a live service game, it requires new content on a regular basis.
And that's true, but listening to EA's earning calls this year, like they put out record numbers. Like, this was their biggest quarter that they've ever had revenue wise.
But that wasn't because of Anthem.
No, and that's what I'm saying.
I think that's what he's saying. Yeah, that's they're
not putting the numbers
bad
up.
Part about it, right? If we were to look at glass half empty kind of thing.
And sorry, and that's what I'm doing just because I was listening to it. It's like, okay, for EA, this isn't probably something they're like, hey, we need this thing out, we need it out now. It's like, hey, you know what? We're doing pretty good. If it takes a little bit of time, I mean,
I actually just read something today that EA has 14 scheduled releases between April 2020 and March 2021.
How many? Say it again. 18?
14. Yeah, 14 scheduled
14
releases.
scheduled
So, like, how
releases,
many
yeah.
sports
That's
games?
based on their earnings call from today.
well, they have 8 titles for this year, and 4 of them are sports games, and then they've got other, like, a lot of those are mobile titles also that they're working on, and their mobile market is going to kill it because they're working on Apex Mobile that's going to hit China, and that's going to make them billions of dollars. So I mean, it's just, I don't know if it's like a huge concern for EA personally to be like, hey, we got to get this out and we have to compete. They don't need Anthem to compete with anything, and I don't think BioWare should try to compete with anyone right now. Really, they just need to make the base game work and then go from there.
Well, that's why I'm thinking next year would be the best option. So you're not just throwing it out there to throw it out there, because if it comes out this fall, it's just, you're just putting it out to put it out. And whatever happens, because you're just going to get washed in everything else that's coming out. I mean, there's too much that's coming out. Unless they'd have to be on the next-gen consoles. You got to, compete against all the other games. And like you said, they can't plan around that stuff, but they can plan around that, because it's like, do you want to put it out and actually have it to try and be a success, or are you just putting it out to put it out? Like, we just need to get the stuff out there. It's just like when things in the past were delayed and got pushed to the same time, as other big releases that were coming out. And it was, last fall when things got delayed and didn't kind of happen right and got pushed to when bigger games were coming out. and it was just kind of like, oh, it made a splash for a couple days and then it was gone, right? I mean,
Right.
So for me, I think if they wait longer, put more effort, more time, use next gen consoles, really make things. I mean, if they're not going to put anything out till then, that's fine. They just need to let us know, hey, we are working on 2.0. There's not going to be any updates because we're going to have the whole team focus on 2.0. It's here for you guys to keep playing. We appreciate that. I mean, they just need to let us know if they're not going to do anything, right? I mean, you can't just leave us dangling here, hoping and wishing. It's like pissing in the wind. All right, you just don't want to do that.
Remember, that's kind of the MO as of late.
Well, I know, I understand, but I mean that's a big difference of, we're just gonna put a new update out and not say anything versus we're not gonna do anything, till 2.0.
Right.
All right. So that's a lot to talk about the future. Let's talk about what's happening currently. So in week 7, this was something that. So I guess I take issue with this. So in week 7, they released the Tyrant Mine. It finally came out. It had 2 unique challenges. It had the Snowed Under challenge and Snow Day challenge. There was also that Do the Puzzle Perfectly challenge that I was like, hey, there's no way that they would ever do this. This is really dumb to try and get this puzzle done perfectly. And they put it out, and I still stand on the fence that that's a really dumb challenge to have to get that done perfectly. Whatever, it's a dumb design.
I mean, if you play with Mike, you're never gonna get that if he's doing.
It's true. I mean, if you play with most people skip the puzzle anyway, so it doesn't matter. So Ice Tide, they extended Ice Tide all the way through February, right? So, and I have a lot of issues with this, but so maybe you guys can talk me off the ledge here. So first of all, we had the tip of the iceberg.
This is Sparta.
Got reset right after a week and a half. So we got that progress reset for people that have done a lot of it. And then, we had a bunch of people jump in. We got it done. I went through. I got it done. I planned out my time. Got the armor. Hey, I did this. Perfect. Here we go. And then when they extend it, I know I shouldn't feel this way, but I'm kind of petty. I kind of felt cheated. That it's well, I did it on the time frame that you gave me, minus the week that was taken from us. And then you just extend it by an entire month so more people can get it. So it takes this aspirational content. In the beginning, they love to talk about aspirational content. We want to give you aspirational content, things to chase. And it's okay, I got this armor. Other people are not going to have this armor because they didn't put in the time and they didn't plan out their days around getting this. And now they get a whole another month to do that. And I'm well, then what does it even matter then? Should we just wait on all these events to see if they extend the time? Because now I feel as a player that did that content on that time frame, now I just feel cheated. Is that a crazy feeling for me to have? Or
I don't think it's crazy. I think you hit the nail on the head in the first. I mean, it is petty, right? Because you're hey, but it's not unwarranted. Because you're absolutely right. Not to steal your story, but you challenged me to go ahead and do Tip of the Iceberg 2. And I did. I started playing them. I did the math. How many notes do I have to find? How many strongholds a day? How many coolant challenges a day? How many Dominion a day do I need to kill? I did all that math, and I started working towards it because I think Steve, you challenged me 2 weeks ago, so I've been working on it for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I was grinding, and I finally got it down to where I only had to do 1 stronghold a day. I only had to do 2 coolant events a day, and all the other things were going to kind of take care of themselves as you go through and do that. Your notes take care of themselves. Your Dominion take care of themselves, right? So I'm close. I'll still finish it this week. I'll still finish it by the end of January. But I'm not as driven anymore because now I have a whole nother month to do it. Yeah. I don't have to. Now I can do, half of a stronghold a day. It's even less than that. It's a quarter of a stronghold a day to be able to get it done. And so, yeah, it does feel a little bit cheated. And if you read between the lines, when you read that line of text has been taken out, I can only assume that the form that they were using was a copy and paste form, that everybody has. Well, because you don't want to recreate everything. Maybe it's just the mindset that I have. You don't want to recreate everything every time you go out and do it. So there's a template that the Codex challenges use, and there's that line on the bottom, and it got left in. maybe we could read into it saying that there really isn't anything that they're working on, so they had to get it taken out. Or maybe, as Devin speculated, if maybe the game is dead, or maybe 1.0 is dead, and this will be the end of it until 2.0. Hopefully there is a 2.0. Stranger things have happened, so you can't really say that there isn't, or you can't say that there's not gonna not be a 2.0, but who knows, right? So
it's a similar feeling to when the Cataclysm Crystal Armor was also sold during Season of Skulls. So it's like you want players to feel like, hey, I was here for this event. Look what I have. You want people to recognize that, hey, that player was there at Cataclysm. I wasn't. They have that cool crystal armor. So then when you sell it during Season of Skulls, it takes that and it's like, well, it doesn't matter that you were here for Cataclysm because now we're selling it here too, right? So Lupa, and it reminds me a little bit about Destiny and maybe like Outbreak Prime, right? During the raid for Wrath of the Machine. Like they had a gun that you could go get that you had to complete certain puzzles for. And it's like if and you would recognize someone that did that by that gun. I mean, it stood out. It said, hey, you did this crazy binary puzzle thing. Even though we weren't there to like solve the initial puzzle like everyone was, you still went there and got that, and it will still like show that you were there for that event. I mean, is that similar, or is this just like crazy talk of people that
No, like I said this a long time ago, and we probably discussed it months ago, is that like you have to create that sort of urgency to log in, and once you like devalue that urgency, what's the point? Like why are you gonna log in now? Because then they're just gonna add it back in later, and they've even made it like, I don't want to say worse because I don't think anything is like worse. Like all the crystals now, which is it's actually substantially easier to get crystals now.
Yeah.
Everything is for sale every week. So every now that they've even extended it longer, there's another week on top of that to add more old stuff back into the rotation as well. It's not even just the the 4 weeks of Ice Tide or whatever it is. It's now like the 7 weeks of Ice Tide when all is said and done. So that gives the opportunity for more things to be in the rotation. So like there was certain graphics that I didn't that I didn't get from the Cataclysm that now I am buying, because like you guys said last week and the week before that you've got 90,000 shards and you have nothing to spend them on. So that's what I've been doing, just buying all the cosmetics and everything like that, because I don't have much to spend on.
So you might as well spend it on something.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah,
because
you
you
gotta
lose it at that point.
you can't
Like
hang
I
on
just
to 'em.
I just like go for the random legendary every time now at this point.
So
Right.
just to give a different opinion, I'm like, I get what you guys are saying, but for me, it was actually kind of nice to have a second chance at some of these things, have the extension, because I'm ridiculously short on time to play any games, much less Anthem, and I've been making a lot of time for Anthem lately, and like I was doing like you said, you guys did the math, and I was doing the math for me. Like with how much time, like I got maybe an hour or two every night to play games, if that, or if I don't feel like getting any extra sleep. And so I was thinking, like, there's no way that I'm going to be able to finish Tip of the Iceberg 2 before then. I'm going to have to like either like cut back on sleep, or it's going to have to be really, really tough. And then they extended it, and I felt more motivated to get it done, because now I didn't have that stress weighing on me of like, I'm going to run out of time before I even come close to getting this done. If it wasn't for the fact that they sold each round of crystal armor at different points during the Cataclysm event, I would have missed out on 3 out of 4 sets. And for me, like, that is like, I don't think, I get what you guys are saying, but I also don't think that it should be like one of these things where it's like there's never ever a second chance to get it. Because some people just have stuff happen, and they don't have the time to make room for what they want to do. For something like, I want to make time so I could get the Season of Skulls armor. I wanted to get the Season of Skulls challenge armor. It looked sick. It looked incredible. But there was no feasible way that I was going to be able to do that with the time I had.
Yeah, and I totally get that. don't care about other people though, JD. Like if I'm gonna put in the time, like I want the reward, right? Like that, and that's the
Well, I mean,
point of
you
like.
got the reward, but
But,
they
but me,
devalued
but
it.
me having a second shot
Yeah.
at the reward doesn't get rid of it for you. It just gets rid of some abstract feeling that makes you feel special.
It decreases the rarity.
So what does Syndrome say in his monologue right at the end? His tagline is, "Once everybody's special, no one will be." You know, so
true.
like that's the point of it. That's the point of the grind, JD, is that
Well,
yeah, you know you're short on time, but you go through. It's that risk reward. I put in the time. I stayed up a couple nights that I probably shouldn't have. I was dead for my
Sleep's
students
overrated.
today.
I'm
Yeah,
not
you know,
saying make it
but-
available all the time.
No,
I'm just
no,
saying, like, give
but
us
I understand your
occasional
point.
second chances.
He's playing the devil's advocate, which is
So I understand your point, but again, that's what it's doing. We've been given this challenge. This is what you have to do. I agree that I think the numbers in Anthem are inflated on all of their challenges. I think
Yes.
everything could be cut back maybe 20, 15% on all their stuff. Their numbers seem a little bit high. Here, do 17,612 strongholds. You can do that in 3 weeks. Go for it. And you're like, okay.
What?
But I get
Yeah.
your point. But putting in the work, you know, and again, starting on time, because Steve, when did you start? You started Tip of the Iceberg 2 right when it dropped, and you had it finished decent amount of time, right?
So I waited, and I was lucky enough that I did not start until after they fixed the tracking issues. So that was a week and a half afterwards.
Yeah.
So how many weeks
So-
total then have you been working on Tip of the Iceberg 2?
6 weeks.
See, so in 6 weeks you needed to do 30 strongholds. I mean, that's cake. That's a stronghold
40.
a day.
It was like 40 strongholds or whatever. Yeah, I mean, like if
Right.
you started early, you can plan it out. It doesn't take that long to do.
Exactly. You're absolutely right. And the point is that if you log in on time, you do have time to accomplish these. If you log in late, and this is, I think, that FOMO that Lupo you were talking about, is that I've got to log in and check to see what these challenges are on this new Ice Tide to make sure I can plan ahead and give me that time. You know, for Devin, who plans all of his game time, it's important for him to get that out there so he knows, yes, I'm going to play these other games throughout the week, but when I jump in on Anthem for that time that I have allotted, I have to get 3 coolant events done, 2 strongholds, and they need to do it there. So like that's the other type of gamer that I think this game really speaks to, is being able to plan that out. I'm not sure the seasonal events are good for the casual gamer. Yeah, maybe I'll jump in Anthem tonight for 45 minutes. If you do that habitually, you're gonna miss out on stuff. So either you want these rewards or you don't, and I think that's the point.
Yeah, I mean, games like Anthem, the way they're doing things, are doing it similar to Destiny, where it's you had to be there, basically mentality of you can't get these rewards. But then when they devalue them by, I mean, obviously they had issues or whatever else. You can play both sides, you know. I think them adding more time is a way to help them also. It's a double-edged sword no matter what they do with it. It gives them more time to continue to work on whatever they were maybe going to put out. But at the same time, it also kind of screws over the people who worked really hard to get it done before the time was up. But yeah, I think, you know, for me, once you don't have that, like, so Destiny 1, I played, you know, we were on almost every day for the first year, right? And like Anthem, I was playing for months every single day, and then it was just like, I don't, you know, it kind of got to the same point where it's like, I don't, you know, need to be here every day, or I don't want to have to need to be here every day. I want to be able to still enjoy the game, but there's so much else out there, and so sometimes when they're doing that style of, you know, you had to be there, it kind of turns me off a little bit, right? Like, I understand the chase. Yeah, I mean, you have to have something to chase. You have to have something to do. But at the same time, for me, it's like time is my most valuable commodity. And I don't have that amount of time. I do have that amount of
It's the
time.
only thing you can't get back.
Yeah, you can't get
Exactly.
you can't get that time back.
Man.
But
Man, we've
Um,
learned that this week, haven't we? Good
yeah.
grief.
I want to. Hey, I'm not done. I'm not done. You just wait.
Well, no, but I'm gonna just add to your point. Just one little thing. Just one little thing. I'm gonna add to your point.
5 minutes
stuff-
later.
The stuff that we chase, the stuff that we chase has to be attainable also,
Yes.
right? Numbers
Yes.
can't be like tip of the iceberg 3. That thing is huge, right? And so, how could? And not to
Sorry,
take away from
I'll let-
Devin's
I'll
point
let-
because Devin,
yeah, I'll let Devin
Devin
finish.
has the
I'll
floor.
counter you.
But I'm just saying. But I'm just saying, numbers have to, like, they have to be attainable. Go.
Has to be attainable, yes. So I think what I was going to just kind of finish off with was basically when I finally got around to, like, okay, I don't have to, there's no more fear of missing out. That stuff that was like they're forcing me to try and play on their terms really irritated me because you're trying to dictate my time and my life of what I can do. And so I kind of push against that or kind of rebel against that. I'm like, well, you know what? Screw you. I'm not going to do that. So it's, at the same time, it's also like, I'm just going to play. I'm going to have a good time. I'll do the events. I'll do the stuff. I'm not working hard to try and get, everything. And you don't even have to work very hard. But, we've talked about it many times before. I plan out each day, the time that I'm going to play, what I'm going to play. And so it's difficult because I want to play, 5 or 6 different games. And I can't put in, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours because I have to get up at 4 in the morning
Trying hard enough.
to play games with
right.
Steven. So,
Trying hard.
I mean, I'm not, yeah, it's true. I'm not trying hard enough because I don't want to. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And just real quick, because I'll give myself the final word on this, and then we'll move on because I can do that. If
Just
you
real
make
quick,
every
1-5.
challenge achievable by every player, then it's not a challenge.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. So one of the
no
things that
rebuttals.
I have spoken.
No, yeah. So one of the things that happens.
This is the way. This is the way.
All right, I'll let you guys get your Star Wars references out of
Just
here.
got copyright
So rep
infringed.
gains and seasonal strongholds. Tyrant Mine was granting a 600 rep towards Champion of Tarsus.
Oh yeah,
That was a bug.
it's a punch in
bug
the
that
pants
everyone
right there.
liked.
That's what that
It was like one of those bugs that was like everyone liked it, no one cared. Don't report this bug. I guess people did report it because then they changed it back to its normal like 160, 150 or whatever it is for a single completion. So this was a incentive to run seasonal strongholds. Like
Yep.
it wasn't intentional by BioWare, but it happened, and it was something that was beneficial to all the players. There's been a lot of talk on the EA forums. For some reason, there's players that think it's good that they reset it to 160. I am of the opinion that they should have left it for the entirety of the seasonal event because it's not hurting your players. So what do you guys think? I mean, this is
It's control
it
issues,
almost
really,
felt-
is what it
Right.
is to me. I think, right? They want control. They're making the game when it doesn't suit the direction that they want. It's just like when the legendary drop rates were higher, and they screwed it up. And it's like, oh, everybody's having a great time. More people are playing. Higher drop rates. Screw that. We're not going to let you keep doing that. That's not how things are supposed to run. Obviously, it screws things up on their back end, or they decide how fast they want you to reach those goals. And so they're like, well, you know what? More people are playing this, so let's not do that. I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, I have no idea why you would do something that is counterproductive. It's like, yes, it's a bug that there's giving you 600 rep, but obviously their data had to have shown that more people are playing this content because they're trying to grind out that rep, and it gives you a better incentive. And then to just be like, you know what, F you guys. That's not supposed to be there, even though it's fun and making things better for you guys. I don't know. I mean, you should fix it and put it in there,
Yeah, and just real quick, before JD goes, just so I cover myself, I just posited the argument that if you make it easier for everyone to get, it's less special, right?
It's still a huge thing to get. You got to get 150,000 reps.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a big challenge to still do.
It's true, but if you would have done it before, I mean, you would kind of feel slighted. That all right, you casuals can do it now too.
Filthy
huh?
casuals
I mean,
can get the
Right,
gold.
Lupo?
I haven't done it yet. I'm
So-
only at like 30K or something like that.
Yeah.
You
I'm at-
casual Lupo.
I'm at 41,000, and the whole thing is that like the people that I have come across who actually have the gold, or any of the videos that tell you the best way to grind out that Champion of Tarsus challenge, they're all about the exploits too.
Well, and then they all
It,
tell you it's not worth it. You know, all the time and effort they
Yeah.
put into it to get it. The reward is not worth the amount of time you have to put into it.
yeah, the whole thing is, and we said this months ago, that like I think even just what was it, like a few months after launch, we said something to the effect of that by the time you complete the Champion of Tarsus challenge, the rewards of crafting masterwork components are going to not matter at all, because you're going to have so many legendary components that they're obsolete. You're not going to use something with 61 power when you could have something that's like 75 or 80 now. Like, there is no incentive to do that. The only valuable thing on there to anybody for any reason, at least in my opinion, gotta say that to avoid making a blanket statement, is the
That's
gold material. Is the gold material. And like it's insane. It's 150,000. I've been playing somewhat regularly since launch, and I am only at I'm like 41,000, maybe 42,000. And that's still like upwards of 150.
That's a filthy casual, you know, right there.
Like, it is. Actually, I'll do the math on it right now.
I've got 30K and 500 hours invested.
So
you must have been doing
why.
it wrong. Maybe no.
I definitely do. I do what's fun, man.
726 more strongholds for me to get it from where I'm at.
So to Lupo's point, I am the same way. I have tons of hours in the game, but I never focused on Champion of Tarsus while I was playing. Yeah. It was always doing other things. I played a ton of free play for a long time. Free play does nothing for Champion of Tarsus. There's a lot of things that you can go do. You can restart new pilots, get all that rep for going through all the story stuff again. Defeated Rescue in the chat has actually achieved it, so that's pretty awesome. So Defeated is not a filthy casual, all right? And Defeated says that, the gold, it doesn't work with everything, and we asked if it was worth it, but it's not something that just playing the game eventually you'll unlock. I mean, that's true, but you really have to
3 years later.
No. Yeah, you actually have to focus on it. You have to run those strongholds over and over and over again. So
my new goal is getting that before 2.0.
Yeah, that's same for me.
I feel bad for you right now. That goal.
Like I said, I'm committed to it. I am fully committed to it, because like every Monday night we're gonna do the thing, play Anthem for a few hours or whatever like that. So what are we gonna do beyond Ice Tide? Is there something beyond Ice Tide before 2.0? So this is my stretch goal. This is my aspirational content, but I had to do that myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think giving yourself a goal to do something in the game is probably one of the only pieces of content that you're going to have. And that's one of the reasons Mike and I did this. You know, we had the goal of completing this challenge, because it's like, if we don't put the goal, then we're not going to do it. So, you know what? And when you do it, Lupo, you're going to be, one of the very few that actually has it done. And, and then that next day, they're just going to give it away. They're like, hey, we're going for 2.0. Here's everyone gets the gold.
Everybody gets the gold.
This is the issue that I've had with like sandbox games, is that like there's often not a defined path of like what the content's supposed to like dictate, and that's frustrating in and of itself. Like, tell me why I'm playing. What's the incentive for me to go get this stuff, and play the harder content? Because that is one thing that the events have done very, very well, is geared us up pretty efficiently. I went from like being close to legendary to being like blowing right past it over the last two events. So now like I can go into GM3 by myself and really not feel too hampered. I mean, I'm not hitting scores or anything like that, but at least I'm not dying every 5 seconds.
Right.
So
Devin is.
Whatever.
Devin dies all the time.
Whatever.
But
once.
And it is nice that we got everyone geared up. I just wish we were gearing up for a purpose. So one of the other things that happened during whoever is beating that keyboard, like, it's okay. Like, that keyboard is gonna be okay. Just take it a little bit easier on the keyboard. The WASD keys will be fine. So Mule from chat says, I feel like the issue is the game feels too much like a chore. I game for fun, and there is a balance that is needed between fun and feeling like a chore. You casual mulehorn. So Ice Tide Week 8.
Console plebe. What? I mean, no.
Oh, simmer down.
Jeez.
Simmer down.
Hey,
not
Let's
hey,
start
hey,
the
hey,
console
on this.
PC wars right now.
Devin, what you doing, man? I thought we were
All right.
cool.
So one of the things that happened during Ice Tide Week 8 that didn't get a lot of chatter, but I thought was really nice and interesting. So Caden says, as we're in the heart of Ice Tide and it's glacial winter, guys, we notice some of you haven't been bundling up quite so snugly. Every now and then we see incredible creative javelin suits on Twitter and Instagram, some based off of iconic pop culture figures, while others are unique creations of their own. We love to share these when we can, so be sure to tag us directly and use Anthem Game on your post if you want to see them. It's about time that our community team actually started acting like a community team and like sharing stuff like this out. Like, I'm glad Caden is there. I'm glad that they're going to start actually interacting with the community, because it's been way too long since they've done anything with anyone that's still playing their game. So, I mean, this was a short little thing that's like, hey, we can read between the lines that they're actually going to start interacting with us. And that's awesome, because it's been so long that they've left us in the dark that you feel abandoned by the developers of the game that you really want to succeed. So, I hope everyone shares off their javelins, and we get some interaction from our new community members. So good on them. I just wanted to point that out.
Mm-hmm.
So Phaedron, where can you see what? Where can I go to see that? Twitter or Instagram? What are you looking for?
What you just talked about.
Yeah, so that's on the weekly Cortex. That's in Ice Tide Week 8. That's on the EA forums. So if you go to like ea.forums, just look up EA forums and you go to the Anthem, and then it'll be under the news section. So cool. I think since now we are all the way over, like we're at 48 minutes, so we've almost hit our time. And Lupo, I think you've been talking about Anthem for like the last 2 hours now. This is the second podcast you've done talking about Anthem today.
Like 2.5 years. It's fine.
So, but I mean today specifically.
Catch up, man. Come on.
I'm in it. I'm in it to
I'll
win
do
it.
it all night.
I mean, this is like the first time I've actually
Wife
talked
ain't
to
home.
Lupo.
Kids not here. Like let's talk about Anthem. That's what real bachelors do, right?
True. So normally, like when you finally have all this time to play, you're like, oh, I guess
Let's get on the podcast.
Actually,
so let's go to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of playing games, let's go talk about it on
Let's
a podcast.
talk about it.
All right. So really quick, lots of talk on the puzzles in Strongholds. A lot of talk on, do they fit in Strongholds? Do they make sense in Strongholds? Are they something that, most of the people blow past anyway? So it's creating this friction between players that should not be in there. So we've talked a little bit about it before. This is really one of the big things that the community is talking about now. Do you just take them out? Do you fix it? Like, what do you do to make it to where these people can do puzzles, but they stop getting, interference from players that don't know what they're doing? Is it really just private lobbies, like Phaedron says? Like, private lobbies would help, but if you're only a single player, then what do you do?
I think they have reverse teleportation, right? So when you're doing those puzzles,
teleportation.
it should, instead of teleporting you up to the player who's skipping it, it should teleport that player back to you at the puzzle, and not let them progress. And
Don't you
like,
think?
Hey,
you
look
could
here,
brief
son.
someone so
We
bad, though?
are
Yes.
doing this puzzle. No, I mean give them like one or two tries. I don't know. It is a difficult situation, because the chat, in the game doesn't work very well, and different things, and when you're playing with randoms, you just have to hope, right? I mean, it's just one more driver of they're like, hey, you should just be playing in groups with people that unfortunately, or deal with the problems, right? I mean, that's a hard game design decision to figure out. Like, how do you put that in there and then expect people to play with randoms when at the same time they're designing it for you to play with people that and not with randoms? Because that's ultimately what they want. I mean, everything they've told us is basically, don't play with randoms or deal with it,
Oh, they've told you stuff? So one of the things that
they talk to me all the time. They don't talk to you?
during Cataclysm. No, they definitely do not talk to me. We know why they don't talk to me. So during the Cataclysm, we had voiceover from Faye
Etiquette,
explaining
Steven.
what to do.
Etiquette.
Right? So shut up, Devin. So during Season of Skulls and during Ice Tide, there isn't any type of voiceover directing players on what to do. I think this could go a long way to like educating players. Hey, go get the red orbs before you complete this, or hey, you should go look at this. I mean, there's things that you can do in order to educate your players to take away that friction, because strongholds should not be the place where you're fighting against other players. Like, it makes no sense. It breaks up combat, it breaks up the flow of the strongholds. So you really either need to educate players on a wide spectrum, or you need private lobbies, or you take the puzzles out altogether, because otherwise you just cause a lot of heartache. I mean, there's got to be a solution.
Where are you gonna put them?
All the above.
Free play.
I mean, yeah, but they don't give you crystals in free play.
Well, they could if you complete.
How hard would it be to? Yeah, how hard would it be to put
Well,
that in there?
They
5
are
days
working
to
with
develop
Frostbite
first
engine.
Like,
Okay,
it feels more
doing
place
anything in
free play.
Frostbite is hard.
It feels
like-
more place in free play because you're out there exploring the jungle. Like that's some Indiana Jones stuff right there. Like you just walking around,
should be.
find some like weighted pressure plates and things like that. And then all of a sudden, like you put something out, and all of a sudden you summon this like massive thing from out of nowhere. Now you're fighting it, running for your lives.
Oh,
Start the
yeah.
plane. Like,
We can only
Steve,
dream. Right?
do you think that there could be a system that the game knows that you're going into a stronghold with people in a group in a party, so then it turns
I was
on
gonna-
the
I was gonna bring that up.
puzzles, and
Oh,
then maybe
actually,
if you
that's-
drop in by yourself, they don't turn on, like unless you're formed up in a
Full
fire
group?
team. They're not called fire teams, but
Or maybe give you the option right at the very beginning to opt in. Like, do you guys want to include puzzles in this playthrough? Because then people would know, hey, there's puzzles we should be doing. Because I think it's also people don't understand or don't know, right? Lack of knowledge.
I think the vast majority of the people like passing the puzzles are the people that aren't in tune with what's going on with the game in general.
Yeah.
Like because the game was $5 on Black Friday. So people that residual is still going on right now. People are checking out the games that just recently picked up and all that sort of stuff. So you have people jumping into the game for the first time and going into GM3. Yes, that is actually a thing.
Yeah.
a thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
So
Yes.
then,
People
maybe
well undergeared going into GM3. Yes.
So
That's
then maybe
when you
you
quit
use
the
the
lobby.
fort. Maybe you use the fort as a place to showcase those puzzles. So at the
Actually,
seasonal store, you have the puzzle tree that's right there. If you were to put something, some of the puzzles that are in the strongholds to maybe a smaller degree, so that people are at least familiar with them, to kind of know what to do, interact with the red echo and say, oh, I can interact with these, or I'm supposed to interact with these.
Mhm.
So a little bit of training beforehand, that could be
That's
a thing,
possible.
because then that takes people back to the fort. Because how many times do you drop into the fort and immediately hit Y to start an expedition and don't even walk around?
Never.
Or maybe they can have
but-
puzzles in there all the time. Go ahead, Lupo. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Has anyone played Monster Hunter World?
yo, what is up?
So like Monster Hunter World, you can actually look for other people who are doing things that need help with like
Yeah.
harder activities. So who says they can't put a system like that in the game as well? Like go into the launch bay and say like, hey, look, like I have 2 guys that want to go knock out the puzzles, and you can go in with the 2 other guys and knock out the puzzles. Like that'd actually be.
I mean,
very
they
intelligent
have that
system.
for your friends that are playing. Like, it shows you
Yeah.
when your friends started an event, and you can join them.
But counterpoint, like
I don't have any
there's also
friends
things
What,
like-
what about what if my friends aren't online? I want to help
Yeah.
all the people.
Yeah.
What about the LFG
I want to
stuff?
help all the people.
You know.
I like that.
Like Xbox already has like a looking for group function that you can state specifically what you're doing. Like
But
the
that's
only
third
thing is
part-
that
it's got to be in the game though. Like like
yeah,
third party,
agreed, agreed.
How long
but
did it
it's
take,
like-
Bungie? No.
It does provide. It does provide.
Don't get me started on that.
It does provide like
You've never done it. You've never done a guy. If that's the way you're talking about Bungie doing it, you've never done a guided game.
with an
Oh, I've done it. This is a horrible experience.
An hour wait to leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never again. How can you expect someone to guide you and they've never done the activity before?
It's tricky.
I went into a guided raid in Destiny 2 once and ended up telling other people how to do it. They like after like 20, 30 minutes of not figuring it out, I left. I was like, all right, I'm done. After an
I'm
hour
done.
of waiting to get in.
I'm out of here.
Low standards gets you lots of entry, but not quality, right? That's good.
Yeah.
So Mule says, but those puzzles don't matter. No end game and no purpose except to look cool. Then I put in there, well, if you do the puzzles, you do get a lot. You get way more crystals if you complete all the puzzles. And some of them are tied to the challenges to where you can get your legendary, your tokens or whatever, so you can go get legendaries. And this is something that I was talking about before, because Mule says, but for what purpose? Just to max level, but max level has no purpose. And I said the same thing. We're gearing up for nothing because there's no other content. But I think because like it's for the content that we do have, because the strongholds are the seasonal content that we have, we just get a lot more friction while we're playing them, because it's like, okay, this is the thing I'm doing now. Why do I have to fight against other players for this seasonal content that's active now? Yeah. Because I agree with Mule that like gearing up doesn't matter. That's why like Mike and I, like we talked about last time, we're not even spending the crystals because it doesn't really matter. You don't need like the most optimal build to go through GM3. Like Lupo, you said you can survive GM3 with what you have right now. I mean, if people do want to optimize, there's paths to do that, and they can, try to grind for that best gear. But it really doesn't matter right now. But I think for the people that are playing, it just sucks when you're like trying to complete one of these stupid puzzles and that stupid tether message pops up, and it's like, well, what the F, guys? Like, just like slow down. You get more gear, you get more crystals if you just slow down a bit. And this is something we've been fighting with before, in the beginning. Kill all this stupid scorpion, because they'll drop.
That's where you get the legendaries from, right?
Right.
And it's, I don't know. Maybe there needs to be a better communication tool on the communication wheel. Hey, follow me. There's a puzzle that we need to do before you go on.
Right. Well,
you know what I mean?
The one thing that they should do, and because they should do it, they for all these seasonal events, like give us story missions that teach players how to do this stuff. Yeah. Right. Because then there's an icon in the fort. You get story in the fort. You have a mission that says, hey, there's these red echoes. They're cursed. Go pick them up before you put them in the thing. All right, now players know, pick up the 5 red echoes. It's like the 5 coins in Mario Brothers. Do you think, holy crap. Like,
no,
that's
we just cracked the code.
That's the inspiration for the 5 red echoes. It's Mario Brothers. So, and you give the player like
it's just in.
You
teach them don't do
what
drugs.
You're supposed to do.
Okay.
Yeah, you teach them how. This is the point. This is how it's done. Like, we need to see that somewhere else in an environment that isn't timed, doesn't have pressure under it. Just hey, look at this echo. You can interact with it. Maybe even if it's just in free play. If you find 5 echoes that activate something in free play, let that do something too. The stronghold run shouldn't be the first place where we see that, and that's
right.
That's my.
I think if one thing they could do, or I would like to see them do, is to have all the events still keep going in the other strongholds, like so you can go into them outside of the featured event, right? So they could have where, okay, our featured event is this stronghold, and you get more crystals from doing this stronghold, but you can still play the other strongholds and go through and get crystals, puzzles, everything's are all still there, but you're just going to get a little bit less for maybe they have a lower multiplier cap, for those kind of things. So you can still run those things, and you can still, they get training on puzzles and everything else, but you can have more variety and everything else, because it's just like, oh, okay, we just have to keep grinding this same stronghold to get crystals or anything else, or hey, we wanted to defeat this boss, we didn't get a chance to defeat it last week. I don't know. I mean, that way there's just more things for you to do in the game instead of just repeating the same event over and over and over again.
I think beyond the event, they should just have maybe a playlist where you can go into like a lot of competitive games have like ranked and unranked, like maybe you can do that with the strongholds. You have like scored and unscored, so people have that opportunity to go in there and do that after the fact, if they're just want to have something to aspire to, I can get a higher score than I did the week before or something like that. Like I know it's like little things at this point, but like any content beyond what the base game offers is something more than what we had at launch.
Right. And
like
and
that's
we-
I just want moving forward, like just more stuff to do. Like I would play Anthem every single day if I had something new to do every single day, or at least something to work for every single day.
Yeah, and I don't think Champion of Tarsus is enough. If there's
No,
more things to work
it's
for,
not.
that'd be awesome. So a lot of people in the chat have been talking about, like Devin, you said, maybe you split up these pools, but then again, you split up the matchmaking pool. It takes longer to find a match, and they run into that problem. So right now, like,
But then the solution
Anthem
was right after that, right? You just put in crossplay, like you should. It's already there. Put it in. Then
that's
everybody's
true, but
one
I don't-
unified pool. Lots more players.
I think right now, like, Anthem is damned if you do, damned if you don't.
Yep.
So that's why they're like, well, just don't say anything and we just won't do anything or tell
If
anybody.
we don't
what's going
talk
on,
about it,
which
they'll
is-
forget.
Right.
We will
we're
not
like
forget.
the Tyrannosaurus Rex. They can't see you if you don't move, right?
Don't
If we're
move.
moving first.
And I agree. Like, if games on the next gen system, like games that release without crossplay or at least cross save, if like we should all just boycott and be like, we're not going to buy your games if you're not going to have cross save or
There's
crossplay.
zero
And that's it.
reason for developers to not have crossplay.
Like, gamers rise up for once. Let's stop buying Warcraft 3 Reforged and let's like do something good with the
That's
world.
a whole
All right.
new ball of wax, Steven. All right. Come on.
So everyone, like, thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you for the chat over in Mixer and on YouTube. We really appreciate the community that's come out. Lupo, thank you very much for hanging out with us. Can you tell everyone where they can find you one more time so that they can find you? Please subscribe to Lupo on all the things. Go follow him. Go follow him on Twitter. Like do that right now, right?
All the places. Lupo, the number 2, the rescue. At all the
Lupo
places.
to the rescue. Instagram, TikTok.
No TikTok.
Bite.
I can't do that stuff.
Yeah, Bite's the new hot.
I'm an
That is-
elder millennial.
That is a dark place.
We're talking
All
about
right, so
even I'm
everyone-
there. All right. I'm
Do
at
not
Bite.
go there.
You're on TikTok.
No, not that. I don't know what that is.
All right, everyone, thank you for hanging out. And until next time, there's a Shaper Storm on the horizon, and we'll see you on the other side.
Peace.
Later.
Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter at Freelancer Codex, on Facebook at Freelancer Codex, or through email at freelancercodex@gmail.com. Join the Discord through the link provided at freelancercodex.com. Our show will always be free, but if you'd like to send some support, you may do so at patreon.com/freelancercodex. Our individual Twitter handles are at Steven Lamson, at mlamson25, at Neverfear, and at JD the Joke Dealer. Freelancers, it's time to get to work.